Let me ask you something, and I want you to be honest. When is the last time you experienced actual, total, unfiltered silence?
And we're not talking about just, you know, turning off the TV.
Right. I don't mean the room was quiet. I mean the absence of that muzzing in your brain. You know what I'm talking about.
Mm. The to-do lists.
The to-do lists, the replay of that awkward thing you said in a meeting 3 years ago, the constant low-level panic about the news, the notification anxiety.
It's the background radiation of modern life.
Yeah,
We are living in a state of constant cognitive overruling.
exactly. We are just bombarded. And usually the advice for dealing with this involves something so drastic.
Right, like move to a mountaintop.
Oh, you're stressed. Just sell all your possessions, move to a mountaintop, shave your head, and meditate for 12 hours a day. Which, let's be honest, sounds lovely in theory, but I have a mortgage. And I really like pizza.
And you probably need your Wi-Fi.
Desperately.
Yeah.
So the mountaintop isn't an option, but that brings us to the deep dive we're tackling today. We're looking at Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty.
Mm-hmm.
And the core promise here is pretty audacious. It claims you don't have to move to the Himalayas to find that level of calm.
That's the hook, right? The text argues that the goal isn't to be a monk. It's to adopt the mindset of one.
Okay.
To take that ancient, time-tested wisdom and just apply it directly to the chaos of the city. Emails, traffic, deadlines, all of it.
So that is our mission today. We are going to unpack this material to see if this is just another, trendy self-help manual with catchy slogans,
Or if it's something more.
or if it's actually a practical operating system for finding peace and purpose. We've got a 3-part framework to get through: let go, grow, and give.
It's a powerful structure. And before we dive into the mechanics, I think it's worth noting exactly where this book sits culturally.
Okay.
It's right at that intersection of self-help, mindfulness, and spiritual growth.
Which can be a dangerous intersection. It's usually where you find a lot of vague platitudes and woo-woo stuff that makes a skeptic like me, well, roll my eyes.
It can be. But what I think makes this material different and why it's resonated with millions of people is the accessibility. Shetty is essentially a translator.
The translator.
Yeah. He takes these dense, esoteric Vedic traditions, things that usually require a theology degree to even parse, and he translates them into like the language of the Instagram generation.
That's a crucial distinction. It feels like he's bridging a gap. On one side, you have the ancient ashram,
And on the other, you have the corporate boardroom.
and he's saying these two worlds actually need to talk to each other.
Precisely. And the argument is that the monk mindset is actually more relevant for the person in the boardroom. If you're living in a monastery, your environment is curated for peace.
It's easy to be calm when it's quiet.
Of course. But maintaining that calm when your phone is blowing up, that's the real mastery.
So let's get into the machinery of how we actually do that.
Yeah.
The book is structured, chronologically in terms of personal development. And phase 1 is let go.
Let go. It sounds simple, almost cliche, but in this context, it's the absolute foundation.
How so?
Well, think of it like renovating a house. You can't bring in the new furniture, the peace, the purpose, until you clear out the hoarding situation you've got going on in the living room.
And the hoarding here is pretty specific. It's not just general stress. We're talking about identity.
Huh.
There's this concept in the book about the looking glass self. This really tripped me up.
It's a fascinating sociological concept that Shetty adapts. It was originally coined by Charles Cooley. And basically it says, I am not what I think I am, and I am not what you think I am.
Okay.
I am what I think you think I am.
Just saying that out loud makes my brain hurt.
It's a hall of mirrors.
Yeah.
We live our lives performing for a version of ourselves that we imagine other people are seeing.
So we make choices: career, clothes, posts on social media based on this projection.
Exactly. We are living in a prison of our own perception of other people's perceptions.
Wow.
And the let go phase is all about shattering that mirror. It's about stripping away those layers of external validation, fear, and ego to find out who is actually home.
And one of the biggest layers we have to strip away, according to the text, is comparison. Shetty calls it the thief of joy, which, we've heard before.
We have.
But he frames it in a way that's really damning for our digital age.
Well, just consider the difference between the monk's environment and ours. In an ashram, everyone wears the same robes, eats the same food, sleeps on the same floor. The variables for comparison are just removed.
Right, but in our world, you open your phone and within 3 seconds, you're bombarded with the highlight reels of 1,000 different
Oh,
lives.
absolutely. You see someone who just got 30, under 30,
Someone else in the Maldives, and another person who somehow bakes organic sourdough while running a hedge fund.
and you are comparing their highlight reel to your behind the scenes. You're
Mhm.
sitting there in your sweatpants, feeling anxious, looking at their curated perfection.
So true.
The book argues this is a primary source of modern misery. It's a form of clutter that needs to be aggressively cleared out.
But how? It's one thing to say stop comparing, but it's another to actually do it. Does the book offer a mechanism for that?
It does. It suggests shifting from comparison to appreciation. When you see someone succeeding, the knee-jerk reaction of the ego is envy.
Mm-hmm.
The monk mindset trains you to pivot that to curiosity. Wow, they did that. That's cool. What can I learn from that?
So you're kind of neutralizing the threat.
You're detaching from the emotional spike.
Yeah.
And that brings us to the concept of detachment.
Okay, let's pause there. Because detachment is a loaded word. I think for a lot of people, myself included, it sounds cold. It sounds like you just don't care.
I get that.
Oh, I lost my job, whatever. I'm detached. That doesn't seem healthy. It seems like repression.
That's the common misconception. We tend to confuse detachment with apathy, but they are opposites. Apathy is I don't care.
Mhm.
Detachment is I care deeply, but I am not defined by the outcome.
Give me a real world example. How does that look for our stressed out listener?
Okay, imagine you're in a high stakes meeting. You've pitched an idea and your boss criticizes it publicly.
Nightmare scenario. My heart rate is going up just thinking about it.
Right. The attached reaction is I am stupid. They hate me. My career is over. I need to defend myself. You become the criticism.
I am the failure.
Correct. The detached or monk reaction is I am observing that my idea was criticized. I am observing that my body is feeling heat and embarrassment. Okay. Now, what is the useful data here?
So you're creating a gap. You're stepping back and watching the movie of your life rather than being the character getting punched in the face.
Perfectly put. You are the observer. That gap is where the peace lives. It's not about not feeling. It's about not being hijacked by the feeling.
Okay.
It's asserting that your happiness does not depend on your boss's mood or the number of likes on your post.
That feels like a superpower.
Uh-huh.
But it also feels like it takes a lot of work. Which leads us to the second phase. Once we've started to let go of the ego and the comparison, we have all this empty space. We have to fill it with something. Phase two is grow.
This is the shift from subtraction to addition. And the central pillar here is a Sanskrit concept that gets thrown around a lot but is rarely understood. Dharma.
Dharma, right? We hear this in yoga classes all the time. But in the book's context, this isn't just destiny or religion, it's a formula.
It is a formula.
Uh-huh.
And this is really helpful for the learner type who wants practical steps. The book defines Dharma as the intersection of three things: passion, expertise, and usefulness.
Okay, let's break that down. Passion is what you love, expertise is what you're good at,
Mhm.
and usefulness is what the world needs.
Exactly. It's supply and demand for the soul.
Yeah,
You might love eating pizza, that's passion. You might be
oh,
really good at eating pizza, that's expertise.
I am.
But unless you can find a way to make that useful to others, it's not your Dharma. It's just a hobby.
That is a harsh but fair reality check. So dharma is where your natural inclination meets a real need in the world.
Yes. And the text emphasizes that you can't just think your way to Dharma. You
Yeah.
can't sit on a couch and analyze yourself into purpose. You have to try things.
It's an active
A
process.
very active process of discovery.
But what if you're stuck in a job you hate? We see this a lot. People feel like, well, I'm an accountant, but I want to be a painter. Do I have to quit my job tomorrow to find my dharma?
Not necessarily. And this is where the book is surprisingly practical. It suggests you can expand your Dharma within your current reality.
How?
Maybe your Dharma is mentoring or organizing chaos. You can do that as an accountant just as well as you can as a painter. It's about the intention you bring to the work, not just the job title.
It reminds me of that story of the janitor at NASA who told JFK, I'm helping put a man on the moon.
That is pure Dharma. He connected his daily task to a higher purpose.
Now, to get to that level of clarity, though, you need a sharp mind. You can't find your dharma if your brain is all fogged up with distraction. And this is where the grow section gets into the actual workout.
Ah.
The book argues that the mind is a muscle.
This is the most empowering takeaway for me.
Hmm.
We often treat our mental state like it's fixed. I'm just an anxious person. I'm just scatterbrained.
Yeah, like it's a personality trait.
Right. The monk mindset says, no, you just haven't gone to the gym.
If the mind is a muscle, then focus is the bicep curl.
Exactly. And the review and the text point to specific exercises. It's not just meditation in the abstract. It's about routine. Shetty talks about waking up early time, shifting your day so you have a period of silence before the world wakes
A
up.
golden hour.
Right. If you wake up and the first thing you do is look at your phone, you are letting the world dictate your state of mind. You are reactive.
Hmm.
If you wake up, breathe, and set an intention, you are proactive. You are training the muscle of focus.
I love the idea of training because it implies failure as part of the process.
Yeah.
You don't go to the gym and lift the heaviest weight on day one. You fail, you wobble, you try again.
And in meditation, the wobble is when your mind wanders. People think, oh, I'm bad at meditation because I started thinking about lunch.
Right.
No. The moment you notice you're thinking about lunch and you bring your attention back to your breath, that is the rep. That is the bicep curl.
That reframe changes everything. The distraction isn't the failure. Coming back from the distraction is the success.
Exactly. You are building the neural pathways for focus. And why do we need this? Why do we clear the clutter and
Yeah.
build this focus? It's not just so we can be super productive workers.
Right, that's the trap. I'll meditate so I can send more emails.
That's the westernization of mindfulness.
Oh.
But the monk mindset has a different end game. And that leads us to the third and final phase, give.
Give. This feels like the payoff. But it also presents a bit of a paradox. The book says real happiness comes from giving, not just achieving.
It's the paradox of happiness.
Mhm.
We're wired to think, once I get the promotion, once I get the car, once I find the partner, then I'll be happy. But the monk wisdom flips the equation. It says service is the source of joy, not the result of it.
It's interesting because self-help is usually, well, selfish. It's about my growth, my habits, my success. But this is saying the ultimate form of self-help is selflessness.
It creates a virtuous cycle.
Hmm.
Think about when you are most anxious. It's usually when you are hyper-focused on yourself. What about me? What will happen to me? What do they think of me?
The spotlight is burning a hole in your forehead.
Right. Service shifts the spotlight.
Yeah.
When you are genuinely helping someone else, you literally cannot be ruminating on your own ego. It breaks the loop.
So giving isn't just a nice thing to do for charity. It's actually a strategy for your own mental health.
It's the ultimate antidote to the noise we talked about at the beginning. But, and this is a huge but, you have to follow the order.
Okay.
You cannot effectively give if you haven't let go and grown.
Because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Or worse, you pour from a tainted cup. If you try to serve others, but you haven't let go of your ego, your giving becomes transactional. You're giving to get praise. You're giving to look like a good person. That's not service. That's just another form of manipulation.
Ouch. That hits close to home.
Hmm.
So the growth, the finding of the Dharma, is what fills the cup with something clean and useful.
Precisely. You grow so that you can give. Your Dharma is your gift to the world. If you don't develop it, you are actually withholding something valuable.
It's a complete ecosystem. You clear the land, let go, you plant the seeds and tend the crop, grow, and then you harvest and feed the village, give.
That is the architecture of the monk mindset.
So we've looked at the philosophy. Now I want to get a little critical. We always try to look at these things objectively. The source material we're working from gives this a 4.5 out of 5 stars.
That's high praise.
Very high. But it also notes some drawbacks.
It does. A common critique is that the ideas can feel repetitive. And for someone who is deep into spiritual literature, some of this might feel a little basic.
Basic. I want to push back on that word, or at least reclaim it, because our target listener, the person with the mortgage and the pizza addiction, they aren't looking for advanced metaphysics.
No, they're looking for survival strategies.
Exactly. If I'm drowning, I don't need a lecture on fluid dynamics. I need someone to say, kick your legs. I feel like basic and simple are actually huge pros here.
I would agree. Complexity is often a trap. We use complexity to avoid doing the work. Oh, I need to read 10 more books before I can start meditating.
Right.
No, you don't. You need to sit down and shut up.
Right. Common sense isn't always common practice. We know comparison is bad. We know gratitude is good, but we don't do it.
And that's where the repetitive nature comes in. The book acts as a drill sergeant. It
Mhm.
repeats the lesson because we forget the lesson. We need to hear comparison is the thief of joy 100 times before it actually stops us from scrolling Instagram at 2 a.m.
It's the muscle analogy again. You don't do a bicep curl once and say, okay, that was repetitive, I'm done. You do it until it changes your physiology.
Exactly. Repetition is how you rewire the brain. So if the book feels repetitive, that's not a bug. That's a feature. It's designed to overwrite your default settings.
The review also calls it a lifestyle guide rather than a one time read, which implies it's something you keep on your desk, not just skim and shelve.
Because the monk mindset isn't a destination.
Mm,
You don't arrive at enlightenment and then clock out. It's a daily practice.
mm,
You will have days where you fall back into ego.
hmm
You will have days where you forget your Dharma. The book is the manual you open up to get back on track.
So if we look at the big picture here, think like a monk is essentially a bridge. It takes the monk stuff, which feels distant, ascetic, and frankly kind of boring to a dopamine addicted brain.
And it frames it as the ultimate efficiency tool.
Yeah.
It reframes peace not as something soft, but as a competitive advantage.
Mm.
If you can stay calm when everyone else is panicking, if you can stay focused when everyone else is distracted, you win.
Not just in business, but in life.
'Cause-
It challenges the assumption that peace is something you find later. We keep waiting for the weekend, for the vacation, for retirement.
But the text emphasizes peace comes from within, not from possessions or locations. You can access it right now in the middle of a chaotic Tuesday if you have the right tools.
So let's bring this home for the listener. We've covered a lot of ground. We have the three pillars.
Let go. Identify the looking glass self and shatter it. Stop the links of energy that come from comparison and external validation.
Grow. Treat your mind like a muscle. Train it with silence. Find your Dharma, that intersection of passion, skill, and usefulness, so you aren't just climbing a ladder to nowhere.
And give. Break the ego loop by serving others. Recognize that your growth is not just for you, it's fuel for what you can offer the world.
It's a convincing argument, and honestly, it feels like permission to just stop running on the hamster wheel.
It's a reminder that the noise is optional. The calm is always there, underneath all the clutter. You just have to do the work to excavate it.
So here is where we leave you to think. We've talked about the mind being a muscle. We've talked about the need for reps.
And just like physical health, mental clarity requires consistency. You can't cheat the reps.
So I want you to look at your life right now. Look at the let go phase. If your mind is a muscle that must be trained to stop comparing and overthinking, I want you to ask yourself one question today.
What is the one mental workout you are neglecting right now that is costing you your clarity?
Is it the workout of silence? Is it the workout of gratitude? Or is it the workout of putting down the phone so you stop comparing your behind the scenes to everyone else's highlight reel?
Find the weak muscle and start training it today.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.